Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1984's 16 Candles. Let's remind everybody, if you want to reach out to us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter. You could follow Corey at Idle Poncho. You could follow me at Junior D's. Let's get into the cast of 1984's 16 Candles. This film stars Molly Ringwald as Samantha, Anthony Michael Hall as Ted, or Geek in the credits, and Michael Schoeffling as Jake.
Can we just talk about Anthony Michael Hall real quick? Because, as you said, in the credits, it says The Geek.
Yes.
And I distinctly remembered him being Farmer Ted.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew why he was Farmer Ted, but Farmer Ted I just thought was funny as shit.
He's self-described as Farmer Ted. Like, he says it.
I'll tell you where you are. You'll tell me who you are. Farmer Ted.
Everybody calls him Ted. He calls himself Farmer Ted.
Yep.
And in the credits, so it's obviously in the script that his name's Ted. But in the credits,
clearly,
it just says Geek. And not only that, I would love to see, because, we don't do research here. I would love to see if this was the first and only time that somebody that was on the cover of the movie, on the movie posters, didn't have an actual name in the credits.
Am I turning you on?
Yeah, he was just a horny, skinny kid with braces.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
You take out the sexual assault and the braces, and that was basically me.
Oh, well, let's get into this, because this is one of my favorite movies. Like, as far as like John Hughes, Rat Pack or Brat Pack type movies. This was at the top of, or near the top of, my list.
Yes, and I have a question before we do get too deep into this. What was it rated?
The movie was rated PG.
It opens with a fuck, some titties come right out in front. Yeah. Then it goes to a full frontal where she was the only girl in 1984. Carolyn in the shower was the only woman in 1984 with no bush. Thank God they had to turn that fucking thing back. I don't know how this was PG. Not to mention the constant racist, homophobic, developmentally whatever. I don't know what the proper words are these days. There's just fucking shit in this movie that you can't say anymore that is everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah, this from the clothes and the vernacular to those specific things, this was the most 1980s movie that we've seen.
Gosh, dude. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I really could. Like, I really remember two things that I thought were like, that's not going to age well. Which was Long Duck Dong, obviously, and Caroline's pseudo-sexual assault, if you will.
Yeah,
because I've seen this hotly debated. So
yes,
I think it's assault, brother, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And those were the two things I really remembered going into this. I didn't remember that, like, every 5 or 10 minutes there was something you couldn't do or say anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is crazy. Like, this was a wholesome family PG movie.
I don't know about all of that. Even back then, I didn't want to watch it with my folks, but but so let's get into this. So it's Samantha's birthday. Her family is getting ready for her sister Ginny's wedding. They get so caught up in the wedding stuff, they forget about her birthday. She gets pissed because, for a 16-year-old, that's huge. For me, I wish people would forget my birthday. But at 16, sweet 16, especially for a girl, like, that's a big deal. So
yeah, I was 25 when I stopped giving a shit. Like, you remember, you don't remember. I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah. It's like, for me, as long as I got to drink on my birthday, I was always happy. So that's, we'll move on. We'll talk about my problems another time. So she's also infatuated with Jake Ryan, a popular senior at her school, and she fills out during class a sex quiz and tries to pass it to her friend. It falls to the floor because she's sleeping during class, and this all happens unbeknownst to her. Jake picks up the folded quiz, finds out that she's into him, and the fact that she's a virgin, is saving herself for Jake, and all this happens within like a 2-minute span of a scene.
So Jake is supposed to be our white knight, right? He's our dream guy.
Yeah.
Wealthy, drives a sweet-ass car, dresses pretty swell for the 80s. Like, just across the board, he's good to go.
Yes.
And then you listen to him talk, and you're like, oh my God, you're a fucking predator too.
Yeah, because
he says in gym class when he's doing the fake chin-ups, which I didn't get that fucking joke either, but okay, whatever. They're doing the chin-ups, and they're having the conversation about Samantha. And Jake's like, I don't know, man. There's something about her. It's like the way she looks at me. It's like she's in love with me, and I really like that. Yeah, everybody would like that. That's not a good enough reason to fucking be like, her being super into me is why I want to be into her. That sounds like a president we used to have. Are you out of your fucking mind, you narcissist? That's insane.
It would sound like him if it was his daughter, but we're talking about a complete stranger here. So
kids are looking at me a lot. It's kind of cool the way she's always looking at me.
Jake's feelings are, I have confirmation that you're super into me. You're super fucking young, which is called statutory, brother. Watch yourself. And you want to fuck me. If you're gonna fuck anybody, it's gonna be me.
Yeah.
So I'm into you now.
Yeah. That whole thing is a little weird.
That is the logic of a man at 2 a.m. at the bar when they've said last call.
Or a 17, 18-year-old senior in high school. Apparently.
I guess, but when you already have a girlfriend.
Yes.
And she's been DTF the whole time. You just don't like her because she takes advantage of your money.
Yes.
Which we're going to have to break her character down here in a couple minutes too, because she's all over the fucking map.
And then this is where we get the tit and full body frontal shot of Carolyn in the shower as Sam and her friend are talking about how perfect she is.
And can I just tell you how awesome, I know women have massive troubles in this world. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. However, it would be really nice to be a woman because they just ogle Caroline ass naked in the shower.
Yes.
Jaws. Like Anthony Michael Hall would be if he walked into that shower.
Yes.
Just standing there ogling her, and she doesn't give up. She's just doing more poses. She's like, oh, yeah, let's wash my hair now. Can you imagine being a guy in gym class and being like, fuck, that DiBernardo, he looks so good at football practice today, and look at him in the shower just swinging that dang right along.
Nobody ever said that. Nobody ever said that.
But they would have, maybe, at some point in time. Like the freshman was just staring at your dick while you were a senior just bathing in gym.
Yeah, we'll just go
super into it.
We'll just go ahead and say I wore shorts in the shower. I was not a public shower kind of guy.
You were a never nude?
Yeah, I was a never nude. And then enter Anthony Michael Hall, Ted or Farmer Ted or the Geek, whatever you want to call him, who is basically, his whole character is the subplot. He's a geekier version of Ducky from Pretty in Pink, and he's into Sam, tries to hook up with her. She wants nothing to do with him.
So, what's the story? You got a guy, or?
Yes, 3 big ones, and they went blood, so quit bugging me or I'll stick them all over your weenie ass.
Sam then gets home from school after this weird bus ride, and we need to talk about this for just a second. I just want to hit on it for a second. I know we talked about this in another movie, and I forget which one. We've done so many. Go check them out. So, but we discussed this in another movie. I don't know, and it might have even been another John Hughes movie. I've ridden the bus. I've never been on any of these buses that were so like massively crazy and people jumping around, and that was never, everybody got in the seats. And then my bus rides were more like the one from South Park with the crazy crackhead bus lady like yelling at everybody to sit down and shut the fuck up.
I said sit down! Yeah, whatever, you old dried up fat hog.
Exactly. Everybody rode the bus. Like, everybody rode the bus. It wasn't just like, oh, you're a nerd? Get on that big yellow tube, you stupid shit.
Sam then gets home after this weird bus ride from school, and she sees that both sets of her grandparents are staying for the duration of the wedding visit. One set of grandparents brings along the Chinese exchange student, Long Duck Dong, and followed by a gong sound every time his name is mentioned or he makes an on-screen appearance. From here out, I think there's only one time that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, we're gonna...
And I think back in 84, I think they were like, well, if we do it one more time, it's egregious and that's a little racist. But we could do it the other 27 times he shows up on camera.
Oh, yeah, the gongs are okay. We just put out Big Trouble in Little China last week, so we're not racist. Fucking assholes.
That's amazing.
Dude, there are so many like PSAs throughout this. We can't really keep up.
Yeah.
So, back real quick for a very fast PSA. Anthony Michael Hall hitting on Molly Ringwald in the bus. Don't ever do that like that. I don't care who you're into, how you're into them, do not be that aggressive. It's fucking gross. By the way, nobody wants to smell your fucking breath. Don't be a close talker like that. It's disgusting, especially when you got braces. Your sandwich from lunch is still in it, you fucking dolt. That's disgusting. Don't do that. Now, moving on. They decided in this, with Long Duck Dong, to try and use the younger son, who was already established as the asshole, to make the racism funny.
Yes.
So we're just going to do this as another PSA. Hi, guys. Don't use your kids to use racist slurs. It's not funny. Your kids just seem like racist idiots like their parents. It's gross.
Yeah.
The amount of times they called him Chinaman was fucking disgusting. It's like, we're not building a railroad here, and even if we were, it still wasn't okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And here's the thing. There was enough comedy in this movie to move it along, make it funny, and make it a good movie without, like, it was just, I mean, yes, okay. Plenty of racism as far as that goes in this movie. If you took it all out, okay, if all of it hit the cutting room floor, like, hey, we misjudged that. We missed the mark. We thought it was going to be funny. But if you cut it all out, you're only cutting out a minute and a half out of this movie. If you just cut out just the overt fucking racism in this movie. And it's still a good movie. Like, it was almost like they hung their hat on the Long Duck Dong character, and he was a minor character in this movie.
Yes.
But they were like, no, we're going to go ahead and just make fun of the Chinese kid, and we're going to make him use American fucking utensils and use them as chopsticks and whatever the fuck throughout this movie.
And that's exactly what it is. You hit the nail on the head. If you're a person out there that doesn't understand why this character is racist, that's exactly it. The joke is on him. You're laughing at him.
Yes.
You're saying that he is stupid because he's from China and doesn't understand American culture and can't even fucking comprehend how to use a fork or a knife or a spoon.
Yes.
That's the problem. Where shows like Always Sunny, Arrested Development, the joke is always on the racist.
Yes.
The racist in this movie, they were the heroes. They were all the good guys. Even the dad, who at the end tries to be like the only real kind of human being of a character, still calls him a fucking Chinaman. Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
They don't stop. And it's always the joke is on Long Duck Dong. It's never on the people that are viewing him as an outsider.
Yes.
That's why it's racist.
Yes. So Sam's grandparents then force her to take him that night to a school dance where it takes him 5 minutes to find a girlfriend, the tall jock Marlene, nicknamed the Lumberjack.
And I like their scenes together because she's not fucking with him.
Yes. The scenes between those two are genuinely funny.
Yes.
And it's tall chick, short guy. It's like a lot of those, it's like that type of humor. That's fine. Like, those scenes don't revolve around him just being Asian.
Right. It's about it. You have the fish out of water, but that could be any nerd who's just unleashing his party animal. And that's all he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. So awesome. At the dance, Ted places a bet with his friends that he'll hook up with Sam that night. And in the auto shop room, in the little car, during the dance, Sam and Ted start talking. Sam confesses her love for Jake. Ted tells her that Jake's been asking about her at the dance. And then they agree that Sam should just go and talk to him. And then Ted then, as she's leaving, asks her for her panties because he reveals the bet to Sam. And Sam then weirdly agrees to give him her panties for...
Yeah, there's a couple things here.
I was going to say, there's a lot to unpack in this whole scene.
Yeah, so preceding this, you have Anthony Michael Hall dragging her on the dance floor, dancing with her. She leaves him alone, right?
Yes.
And he goes back to her at the bleachers after she's already ditched him. Her girlfriend says, leave her the fuck alone. The guy says, I'm going to, like, basically, tone of his voice is, I'm going to fuck you up if you don't get out of here. Believe me, I've heard that tone of voice a lot. That's exactly what he was saying. He then, again, is ditched, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Stalks her ass into the fucking auto shop room where there is nobody. Like, this is the rapiest looking scene setting up that is getting ready to start. And the only reason he's caught sneaking in there is because he trips over something because he's a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, he's a geek.
Yes.
I got to get his title right.
Yes, you gotta make the distinction.
Exactly. So, and then they get into the scene, and this is again where I start wondering, like, what the fuck is happening? Because they start having a real conversation.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, he's finally starting to see her a little bit more like a human being, not just like, oh, you have red hair and I want to fuck everything that moves. Let's do this.
Yes.
You know, he's just like, they're having a real conversation and he's trying to be your friend, kind of like Ducky.
Yeah.
Right? He tries to fuck her again. He jumps on top of her. And she's like, get off of me, blah, blah, blah. And then she says the reason she won't fuck him isn't because she doesn't like him, because he's being too aggressive, because of da-da-da-da. It's because she's kind of saving herself for Jake. So if Jake Ryan didn't exist, Molly Ringwald is accepting Anthony Michael Hall's D in the auto shop, in that fucking pristine-looking ass car, and then end the movie.
I'm a gambling man by nature, and I'll go for it.
Dude, his character, like, again, it's kind of like Long Duck Dong. Like, you could have made him horny, which has been done numerous times in teen movies.
Exactly.
Without being such aggressive, or like so over the top aggressive to her. Like, even for Christ's sakes, Jonah Hill's character in Superbad didn't just start dry humping Emma Stone's fucking leg throughout the movie.
Exactly. Like, there's ways to do it to make it funny. Yes. Because all you got from Jonah Hill's character, he's an awkward high school kid that, you know, I'm horny and I don't know what to do with this and I'm shy and I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, there's that, and then there's this, which, listen, Anthony Michael Hall, one of my favorite actors. Mm-hmm. like comedic actors of all time. He's so good in so many roles that he plays.
Yes.
And you have all this talent and you're like, yeah, just dry hump her leg again. That's cool. Like that'll knock him dead in the theater. So she agrees to give him her panties. Ted then reveals Sam's panties to half the freshman class in the bathroom to win said bet for floppy disks or whatever.
Which I like that scene too. All the fucking geeks. Just,
and it's a 3-second scene.
And it really is. And it means nothing. And it's nasty. He's showing off her underwear. And now, here is why I think this scene is okay, as opposed to some others, which is she agrees to it. He tells her flat out, I made a bet. It was to have sex with you. I realize that's not going to happen. We're kind of friends now. In order for me not to have to do this and kind of hold up my reputation amongst these nerds, can I have your underwear, please? And she said, fuck it. So, fuck it.
Exactly.
She knew the score. Everybody was fine.
So later, there's a party at Jake's house that apparently Carolyn throws. His house gets completely fucking trashed. Jake goes into like his bedroom, tries to call Sam at her and her grandparents answer, and cock block him over the phone.
That's so good.
And again, this scene is a really good scene between Jake and the grandparents. Like it's hilarious. So,
dude, like this was so many times before caller ID existed, thank God, where I'd call and it would ring and ring and ring, and somebody would answer midway through me going, oh, fuck this, and hanging up, or, well, fuck you too, and hanging up, and then literally calling back 5 minutes later, same person answering, first ring, who the fuck is this? Right into the receiver. Dude, so many times.
At the end of the night, Jake finds Ted trapped under the glass table, and they start to talk. Jake asks him more about Sam. Ted shares all the info about her and how she thinks he's the cat's meow.
The girl freaked. She had a hissy. She thinks you're the cat's meow.
Jake makes a deal with Ted here that if Ted lets Jake keep Sam's panties, then he'll let Ted drive home his drunk girlfriend Carolyn in Jake's father's Rolls Royce.
Yeah, drive home.
Yeah.
Drive home.
Yeah.
If you don't understand what those air quotes mean, that means fuck her while she's passed out, a la Brock Turner. She's not going to know the difference because that's literally what the fuck he says.
So she's so blitz she won't know the difference.
Dude, this movie was like an inch away from being 8mm.
For real. And the whole I'm him, he's me, like that's the problem that I had with the scene is it doesn't need to exist.
Just drive her home. He can still do the picture thing without having to fucking have them have sex or have nothing has to happen between them.
Yeah.
At all, except for like, oh, did we do something last night? No, of course not. Like, we fell asleep next to each other, and it was really nice waking up in your arms. You still have the end line where she still likes him.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have any, like, instead of like, hey, did we have sex last night? Well, I don't know. Your fucking seed's dripping down my leg, so my guess is yes.
Yeah. Ted takes Carolyn to his friend's house. They take the pictures, which is actually a really fun. This scene is really funny. Like, I like him pulling over, him looking into the camera.
Yes.
Breaking the fourth wall and like, hey, I had a great fucking idea. And then driving to his buddy's house where they're like nerding out. And they're like, holy shit, yeah, let's take some pictures to prove that you will, because nobody will believe this shit. Like that, all of that shit is hilarious. And Anthony Michael Hall, again, does such a great job. Mm-hmm. And then the coup de grace at the end of that scene where they take the picture and it's just like his face just cropped because they took the picture all fucked up or whatever. Like that
so
whole
still
thing,
nobody's going to believe it. I love it. Yeah.
That whole thing is hilarious.
Yes. And nobody up till this point is getting assaulted.
Yeah,
nobody up till this point has to have had, a swapsies.
Yeah.
for their girlfriend for panties. Like, you didn't have to make that move. It could have just been, drive her home. I'm shit-faced. I can't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me Sam's panties. I'm going to take them back to her because that's, the nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, I just don't get it.
And that night, Sam's dad apologizes to her for forgetting her birthday. The next morning, her mom apologizes to her, and they all get together, drive to the church where Ginny apparently takes 4 horse tranquilizers and causes a scene throughout her whole wedding ceremony.
The ending scene, or the ending of this with the whole wedding, again, it's funny with the muscle relaxers and stuff, but them making such a big deal out of her period constantly.
I happen to have a serious problem.
She's got her period. Should make for an interesting honeymoon, huh?
You have so many layers here of funny that you have us looking at. Like, the fiance's a fucking idiot. The in-laws are mobbed up.
Which, okay, you brought it up, and I wasn't going to say anything. But what are the in-laws' names? Like the Rosinskis or...
Are we still having dinner with the Rice Checks?
Riz Checks, 8 o'clock at the club. Oh, and you better learn their names as of tomorrow. They're family.
But they're apparently mobbed up, and they play like the Godfather theme song during the dinner that the parents are. And I'm like, they're not Italian. The only reference that we have to mobsters is fucking Italians. And I'm like, yeah, there's other people that had like mobs and shit. Like that bothered me because I'm like, they're like Russian. They're part of the Russian mob. They're not fucking Italian. I'm like, if you're gonna be racist, at least be racist correctly, okay? So meanwhile, Jake goes on a search for Sam at her house. He finds out where Sam is, goes to the church. He then finds Carolyn and Ted passed out in the backseat of the Rolls Royce in the parking lot, where he uses this as an excuse to break up with Carolyn, who amazingly has fallen for Ted and doesn't mind the breakup. Like this whole, it's like a complete 180 from
her whole arc when Molly Ringwald and her friend in the beginning are going through their lesbian phase and they're staring at Caroline in the shower. They're talking about how she's so nice and how her brother has something wrong with him. I forget. And like they go down this list where she's just like this super kind, caring, sweet person.
Yeah.
And then out of like even at the dance, she stops and she asks Molly Ringwald, like, "Hi, how are you doing?" Like she's not picking on her.
Yes.
Like the fucking Heathers did in Pretty in Pink.
Yep.
They just left her, you know what I mean? Like she's asking how she is, etc. And then all of a sudden it's like, Caroline's too nice to break up with. She's got to be a fucking drunken mess at this party that she constantly throws at Jake's.
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere.
Yep.
And then again, she wakes up the next morning next to Ted and is just like, fucking Tuesday. What are you going to do? We're across the street from my church, and it looks like you fucked me while I was passed out, but oh well. McDonald's still serving breakfast?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, the whole thing was just kind of weird. And
yeah, like it's like they didn't know what to do with her character, and they wrote her as like a normal person.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't good enough to break up with her. And by the way, if you are breaking up with somebody, don't set them up to cheat on you to fucking take the high ground, you dickhead. I think it's safe to say the relationship was over when you traded a human being for a pair of used underwear.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Just my guess.
Yeah. And then afterward, Jake drives to the church. Jake and Sam are now face-to-face for now the second time, but they actually talk to each other. Jake invites her over to his house rather than go to her sister's wedding reception, which I found odd here. And Sam accepts. The movie ends with Jake and Samantha sharing a kiss over birthday cake with her 16 candles. See what they did there at the end?
Oh, shit. They didn't even say that. They showed it.
Yeah.
Moving picture shows.
So what I didn't get about the whole, like, her skipping the wedding, like, I get it, like, the wedding's kind of a shit show already, like, who gives a shit?
Oh, yeah, that's the best.
But she looks at her dad and she's like, this is the guy that I was telling you about. She's like, I'm leaving. Fuck y'all. And her dad's like, yeah, you go for it, girl. Yeah, that's not happening. Like, her dad's like the nicest dude in this whole movie.
Yeah,
and
you got to remember, they didn't have cell phones back then. She's getting in the car with a stranger, and it's just like, bye, he's got a Porsche, fuck off. And her dad's like, cool, wrap it up. You know, be careful. We also skipped over the fact that on their way to the wedding, they find Long Duck Dong, who got sweet revenge on Grandma and Grandpa by crashing their car into a lake. They proceed to, like, beat him. I can't with this movie. I seriously can't. I'm just going to jump ahead. It does not stand the test of time. You could not make a third of this movie today.
No, it doesn't stand the test of time. And again, all the actors in this movie, I love all these guys and gals.
Yeah.
John Hughes, great writer, great director. And again, when I was young and didn't know any better, like, this was a funny, and I haven't seen this movie in ages, but I was like, oh yeah, 16 Candles and, you know, whatever. I just didn't realize how much, like, just how overtly racist they were. Like, they should, the purchase of this movie or the rental of this movie, all that money should go to proceeds for Stop Asian Hate. Like, that's the level of this movie. And I just didn't realize it until I rewatched it again. And for me, because again, you and I, we talk about comedy, stand-up, and movies, and whatever, and especially the writing and how intelligent some of the writing is. And we break down comedies a lot just on the phone. This just seemed like really lazy writing to me.
Yeah, this was the end of a 3-picture deal with no good ideas and a lot of cocaine.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Like, John Hughes locked in his office on a fucking cocaine bender and just like, you know what I should do? More cocaine. I'm going to wash it down with some scotch, and then we're going to write a movie.
Yeah.
And because I need to put Molly Ringwald in something else. So,
you know what happened last week? Somebody picked up the phone. We're going to call him Ted. Ted Hughes. He's John's brother. Said, John, you won't believe what happened last week. John said, what happened, Ted? Said, John, my daughter brought home this Asian kid. He's from fucking China. It's the craziest shit in the world. He's a fucking exchange student. And Ted goes off on this racist rant, and John just goes, cool, I'm going to write it all down. And that's how that character was made.
I like how you explained that. That's fair. I'm good with that. But yeah.
Blame Ted Hughes. I'm trying to protect John a little bit. Got to insulate him.
At the end of the day, for me, like, this doesn't stand the test. There aren't enough, because we've done movies with a piece or or two throughout them, like, just peppered in. It's just like, that one joke or those two jokes, that doesn't stand up in 2021 from 1980 whatever. But there's enough redeemable qualities from the movie. Breakfast Club is a perfect example. There's enough redeemable qualities from that movie to go, yeah, it still holds up. It's still a good movie, yada, yada. There just aren't enough redeemable qualities from what you have left over from the rest of it to make this a movie that still is good and holds up. Like, I think it dropped off of my John Hughes list.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'm putting this one straight up next to Soul Man. Like, this is a rough watch. It does not hold up.
Yeah.
Is there humor in some of the scenes? Of course there are. There are. I would much rather watch any Molly Ringwald vehicle.
Yeah, same.
Unless she did some fucking remake of Birth of a Nation I wasn't told about. I'm good. I'll take anything else she did.
Yeah, same. Do you have anything else? Because I'm good for this.
Fuck no. Let's get out of here.
All right. Well, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1984's 16 Candles.